Easy E. Happy New Year.
Shawnee, we're back and
We're
better than ever.
it feels like so long since we've done one of these things, but I'm gonna
I'm
start a
not
lot.
gonna lie. I enjoyed my holiday away from it. I'm not gonna lie. This
uh,
this are you free for a podcast at midnight shy? I was like, oh, this is a great Christmas.
you know what? I've talked for the last 5 minutes. I forgot it's midnight over there where you are right now. I've
But
got you that far ahead.
it's good to be back. It is good to be back. It's good to be getting into a new year. I feel like I have had a fantastic holiday for the first time in a long time. So it's been great. It has been
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. It's a nice change. It's nice to be. I'd say you were very glad of a break. You had a busy lead up to Christmas.
Yeah, so so I did the Advent challenge with the 300k. So basically, day one, 1k, day two, 2k, which felt like took forever. But when I got to the day 23 now, and I'm realizing two, half two, if I don't get out now, it's gonna get dark and stuff before I got back. That was very tough to do. That was just like, why did I put myself through this? Christmas Eve then with the last day was not actually that bad. I woke up to a message off you. It was like, get up and get it done, get it over with. Run, crawl, walk, whatever you have to do. And that's pretty much what I did. Like I literally ran from here out to Nace, and when I looked at watch, it was just a little bit past 12 kilometers. I'm like, oh, just have to turn back on myself, and I'm there. And it wasn't as bad that last day. But the 2, 3 days leading up to it, it was just a very busy week that I would like to have done other stuff leading up to Christmas, but that kind of just took the priority. And it was one of those where I knew if I missed a day, someone was going to be like, "Hey, where was that in Strava? You didn't do day 22, or what was the story with it?" Because like,
That someone was me.
that would have been, and that would have broke me. Had one person said that to me, that would have broke me. But just about got over the line with that. Very happy with it. I haven't done too much running since. I'm totally honest with you. I have enjoyed my Christmas. Back into workouts today and then tomorrow now. Get a run in, and this is where I openly apologize to you once again. Because a couple of years ago, we've told the story before where you rang me as like, Sean, I'm after spending 400 or 500 quid in a Garmin. And I was like, you absolute idiot. Because I knew not too much about Garmin's. I had Fitbits. And then a couple of years later, I went and got no, sorry, I tell a lie. Neve got me a Garmin for Christmas. And I was like, I can't be too much difference between a Garmin and Fitbit. And once I started using the Garmin, I can't even explain it. It just felt like so many levels up. But I couldn't believe I had a Fitbit for so long. But I went to do
Or as I call it, shit bit. But anyway.
So I went into the shop today to get the Phoenix 7 is down in a lot of shops from like 680 down to 450. And my old Garmin was dying of debt. I had to charge it every 2, 3 days for the challenge. I'm like, you know what? It's time for an upgrade. That's a good deal on it. I'll go in. So I went into the shop and I was like, that one, please. Phoenix 7, 449. Thank you very much. And your man looks at me and goes, would you not go for the Phoenix 7S that has all the bells and whistles on it? I'm like, yeah, but it's also 200 quid extra. So I'll stick with the Phoenix 7. Thank you very much. And then, of course, he went coming back. I turned to Neve. I was like, I am about to do something silly. I have a feeling. Your man came back. I was like, oh, we're out of stock of the Phoenix 7, but we have the 7X. And I was like, really? That's convenient, pal. He's like, no, I swear. And I was like, yeah. I'll take it. So I spent the extra few. Oh, I got caught with it. So I spent. Now I'm gonna love this watch. Like it is. It looks phenomenal. It's actually huge. It takes up my entire wrist. But yeah, all the bells and
That's
whistles.
just because you have little arms.
I know I'm gonna have to work my arms over to January. It's like I got this running watch, and now I have to bicep curls and like forearm exercises, so it looks normal on my wrist. So that's what has inspired me to do. But yeah, a little bit sick, but same time I had a couple of one for all vouchers, so it took the sting out of it, and I was like, feck it. I've been thinking about this for a while. But when he came out with the box and the box said like 950 on it, I'm like, I can't believe it was like this €1,000. I did not spend €1,000 on a watch, but I cannot believe how much money I have spent in this. But that's why when I got home, I was like, right, I am setting up my goals for the rest of for the first half of 2024. We're getting straight into that.
Now, listen, if anyone got a Fitbit as a Christmas present, I'm sorry. All right. Not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world.
It's not. No, they're class watches. They are. I just personally prefer the Garmin. I think if you're doing running and stuff alone, that's better. But there's definitely other things Fitbits are better for.
Listen, if you're just tracking steps, trying to be active, they're absolutely fantastic. They just don't suit what we try to do. The longevity, the durability, it's just not there for the sports we get involved in. But they do. They serve the purpose. They're very good. I'm just saying that so you feel good about your Christmas presents now. After that, I don't really care.
Well, I feel like I'm an idiot because like I should have looked, not should have. I don't want to say this in case I get real buyer's remorse out of this, but the Coro swatches, COROS, they seem to be a lot cheaper and getting a lot more you can get a lot more out of them. Like Rachel has one, Dara has one, a few others have talked about it, but it's just, you know, when you have a stupid loyalty to something that's worked you for so long, you don't want to change it.
It's the reason why people buy iPhones and iPads and Macs. And when you get into an ecosystem, like you develop a trust in a product, and that's one thing I have. Like when I was buying my bike computer, it was like, you can buy this one or you can buy the Garmin one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that links in with already the watch I'm using. You know, I've got a Garmin watch, I've got a Garmin heart rate monitor. So to me, if any of those one elements don't work, me and Garmin are going to have a row. So it's you know, when you get a Chorus watch and then you're trying to mix and match it with a different phone, your bike computer's Garmin, they all should work and they all will work in tandem. For me, I just like the convenience of the same product. It's the same reason that people will buy an Apple or this, but you tend to try and believe that when something has that much financial backing that it's going to be good quality. They have been one of the leaders in it. The others are trying to disrupt the market by coming in. They have to be cheaper than Garmin, otherwise you're not going to buy it.
You would think that, yeah.
So are they as good? Probably. Are they cheaper?
Better.
Probably. But to be honest, for what you're buying, you don't want to buy twice. So for me, that was why it was like, right, Garmin. And I know I'll be happy with it. I've been happy with it. Like I have the Phoenix 5 on my arm and I have it since 2019, March 2019. And it's still going strong. They're absolute animals of things. So no, I have to say it's absolutely brilliant. Bar turning off and on again once every year just to reset it a little bit. That's about the only thing I've had to do. But it is a big investment. So like I think people might have put it on their Santi lists. New pair of Hokas and a Garmin watch, but it's what you do with it now is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's it. It's like if you don't use it, then you are wasting it. But like to your point, you used it so much that's why I have to turn around and say, yeah, okay, you were right to get that watch at that time. Where to me, the idea of spending that much money on the watch was just like, I probably had a cheap, I don't know, the old watches with the calculator on it. Maybe I had one of those or something from when I was a kid. But I can't remember. I probably had like a 20-year-old
Casio.
Casio was the one I was. Yeah, glow in the dark function, deadly. But yeah, no, I can't give a review on this because I've literally had it on my wrist less than an hour. So I have not ran on nothing in it yet. So no reviews, no what's good, no what's not good, or anything like that. But I have set myself for a list for 2024. I know you've talked before the podcast. You've set yourself up for 2024. So with that said, intro music for the first episode of 2024. Let's go.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure now.
Do you? Why?
By plans for 2024, I've decided today I'm going to do a 10K next week. That's about all the planning I've been able to do. So I'm still on the old job hunt, but no, I'm not really. I am and I'm uncertain of my work schedule of how it's going to pan out over the next couple of months. So that'll kind of depict planning and scheduling for me. But my goal is to do the Dubai 10K. With a purpose. This is the thing, Dublin Marathon, if you're listening, right? You can register up until Friday.
Pretty event coming on Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a bit of difference between a 10K though and setting up logistics for a marathon though, right?
It's the marathon. It's the 10K and it's the fun run 4K. And you can register for any of the races up until Friday morning. So
any idea how many people would do the Dubai Marathon over there?
They're estimating 20 to 25,000.
Oh, so it is Dublin numbers.
Yeah.
And you can sign up until Friday. Is that because it's...
I don't have a follow-up question. As many people as they want to do it. If you want to do it, no problem. You'll just add in. I think the road structure, in fairness, it's a lot bigger, you know, like it's... You're running on larger motorways, and you know you don't have that kind of congestion, I suppose. But yeah, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get a ticket. I logged on there before the show. I was like, yeah, anything you want. If I want to do the marathon, I can still do it, but I'm going to draw a line under that one fairly quick.
And what time does that start at then? The 10K?
8:15 in the morning. So
okay, that's bad.
Yeah, temperature's currently here at night time getting down to around 20 and about 20. It was 29 today. So in the morning, you should be seeing about 25 degrees for the run for it. And that's why for me, it's a 10K. But it is with a bigger purpose. So Abu Dhabi Marathon and Dubai Marathon, one is before Christmas, one is after Christmas. That is very much the plan for next year. I'm going to do the two of them. And that's one thing I want to set in goal for my Christmas. And it always comes back to that thing we talked about before with setting goals. And I let myself down over the Christmas, over the years of letting the fitness go because we peaked in the summer and then I'm not arsed for the winter because it's cold. I don't have the cold excuse. I don't have the rain excuse. I've got beautiful temperatures for sport. So that'll be the plan coming into the end of next year, is to get those 2 marathons done. There is another half marathon, I think, at the end of the month as well. So I'm going to start with the 10K next week. See if I can manage a half marathon at the end of the month. We should know what the work schedule is then. Strength and conditioning is going to be king for the next week or two, and just falling in love with sport again. That might sound bizarre, but you know, when you stick to plans, and for me anyway, when it's so rigid and so stressful, and then there's nothing there, there's no event, and then it's like I've no graw to get on the treadmill for 3 hours, you know. So it's about falling in love with it again, and for me that's about getting into the multi-sport, getting into a little bit of swimming again, a little bit of cycle, a little bit of weightlifting. And that's the plan over the next month, is the prehab work, a lot of strength and conditioning work, a lot of stuff that have fallen by the wayside. And I posted on my story, you can see how far my fitness has fallen since the Ironman, and it's amazing, nearly 70 points for not doing anything for 6 weeks. So it's quite a substantial, and everyone's like, Josh, you've done loads of marathons before. It's like, yeah, it's still fucking hard.
It's so hard. I'm getting that now with the Dundee 50K. It's like, well, you could easily do under 5 hours. I'm like, no, not on current fitness. It's not happening. I need to get a kick up the backside. But go back to you. Why a marathon? Why have you come back to 2 marathons at the end of the year? Is it just convenient that that's back to back? It's nice to challenge back to back, or is there a deeper reason for time, or a why a marathon?
No, time hasn't really factored into it. I think kind of going back to when you did Galway and then Dublin, I just like the idea of 2 marathons within 4 weeks. Now, don't get me wrong, there's people doing marathons back to back for a month, you know. But for me, the idea of 2 across the Christmas period can keep me training. And some of the jobs I'm looking at, I'm going to be based in a kind of a camp. So I'll have 6 weeks of the gym, running track and something else. So I suppose it's just making sure that there's something there for motivation coming up to the Christmas, and also make sure I'm getting out over the Christmas. I'm keeping the mileage up. But I suppose it will become one of the bigger marathons. You know, the Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they will eventually become one of the bigger ones. They'll keep investing in the sport here, you know. And to say I've done it in both states, I'd be like, or in the UAE, but both cities, I'd be like, yeah, I've done them and never have to do them again, and you can get on your merry way. And for me, it's about, like, it's only ever been Dublin. So it's about starting to tick off, well, I've done hot ones in the Middle East, you know, and there might be some other ones I can pick up along the way. But I think to be marathon fit at a drop of a hat by the end of the year would be a fantastic standard to carry into another new year.
You don't I mean, I know now, I think it's Sydney has passed the first qualifying stage to qualify as a world, as a major. So there's 6 of them now. I'm one Sydney or Melbourne in my head. I think it's Sydney that's gone past the first stage. So like this time next year, maybe, or I don't know how long the process goes, that could be a 7th. The amount of money over there where you are right now, that could be an 8th or a 9th major, like marathon. To say you've done it, I don't know if it counts if you say you did a major before, it's officially a major, but you still ran those roads and ran that distance. So I would be counting anyway. Like,
that just means I'm a trailblazer. Got there.
Got forward a big deal.
But yeah, no, it's good. And do you know what the scariest thing is? I've had a lot of little conversation with myself, and maybe there's a lot of people coming into the new year with this kind of thing. I've very much been a lone wolf, or I've had a very close circle of training friends. I've trained with 1 or 2, or on my own. I've been in my own head for my bar training and Owen Connolly, Lorcan Fisher, the odd run here and there with you. Apart from that, was all on my own. And now I have to make friends. And it's really scary. It's absolutely terrifying, because now I have to put myself out there to go to a first meetup for a triathlon club and a first open water swim. And I don't really know where I'm going. I don't know anyone, and I suppose I never thought at 31 I'd be coming back going, oh my God, this is actually a scary ordeal for people and I forget that from, I don't know, maybe I just got happy training on my own. I'm not accountable to anyone, only myself. Whereas now there's like people like, why aren't you coming training? Where are you going to be? So it's scary, but that's what the new year is bringing for me. So that's going to be one of my goals as well over the next couple of weeks. And I suppose maybe I'm kind of happy that the job front is kind of keeping what the goals that the Ironman in October is going to be, because all I can look at is the next 4 weeks. And I think coming into a new year, that's all anyone should really look at. You can have in mind what you would like to do. So the marathons at the end of the year in mind, a half Ironman definitely in mind, maybe a full Ironman definitely in mind. But the next 4 weeks is get involved in the club, take that leap of faith, strength and conditioning, stuff I haven't done in a long time, but I love and I want to get back into. And then it's the find the swimming pool, find the rhythm, get the stuff set up. The bikes went in for a service. €100 service. They stripped and cleaned every part of my bike. God love them, because I haven't touched it since the Ironman. And it's shinier than when I bought it. And I actually am really looking forward to getting out. I found a 60-kilometer track that's just out. It just goes out into the desert. You just cycle on this perfect track out into sand dunes, and then you cycle back. And it's something I'm looking forward to do. So part of that is finding a new rhythm, which can be really different. And for anyone, motivation's only going to last a week or two. And I say that every year. And then you need that rhythm, you need that routine. So for me, the next 2 weeks is routine. It's rhythm. It's finding, it's putting myself out there. It's taking the leap of faith, going to say hello, the difficult hello. And I'm new. Because part of me is like, oh, maybe you should get on the turbo trainer for 3 weeks before I go and meet these people, because, I'm not fit. Whereas the other half of me is like, nah, just go in, hold your belly out, shake hands, and then go, right, where do we start again?
But we're both hypocrites for that, because we have said to people, oh, just people love to run with you. And I've openly said in the podcast that I have ran with people slower than me, and it's made me faster because our heart ratings forced me to slow down and everything, like that. But then we've had guests in this podcast in the last couple of months that have been like, hey, come run us in the Phoenix Park. And that's one of my goals, is just like yourself, even though I've been in this country for the last 35 years, is to do these events, to run with different people and have that different kind of communities and stuff build up. And I'd be like, I'm not quite there yet in terms of running with you because of your pace. And I'm like, nah, just come down. And I've chickened out of that and been like, I don't know. And that's been one of the reasons for what I did last month, was just to try and build my mileage to my own standard where I think I should be at based on where I was at before. Not that, standards are different for each person, but it's been not compare myself to others, but I know I'm a faster runner than what I am doing right now. And I feel like that if I'm not at my best, I shouldn't be running with people at best, which is complete bullshit, because they don't care. They just want to run with people just like I want to run with people. But that's also one of my goals this year, the same as yourself.
And one of the things anyone who has done solo training is worried about getting involved with it. The only thing that's kind of keeping me sane going into it is I'm treating it like a marathon. I'm going down to the start line and I'm saying hello to a few people. And then once the gun goes off, what are we doing today? Oh, intervals. Once that gun goes, no one cares about you ran a minute 30 lap versus he ran a minute flat. Like at the end of the day, everyone's breathing heavy because it's their own effort. And then it's off for a lemonade because it's 25 fucking degrees and you're going in for the lemonade, and it's, you can achieve. And then that's when you get to know people. It's like, well, what are you doing here? And what do you do? And I just think that's the bit I've been missing for the last couple of years. And funny, that's the bit that's scaring me the most. It's not taking on a marathon or taking on a half Ironman. It's going down to just go, can I run with you guys? So it's, that's in my next couple of weeks. And the reason, again, to do that is there's been so much change in routine that I need someone else to take over. I need someone else to drive the ship. And that is why I think so many people get involved with gyms. And unfortunately, you have to drive your own ship. They provide the vessel, but you're still driving it. Whereas when you go to a club, it's, well, here's the session.
Yeah.
And then it's like, get after it. And it's like, oh shit, okay. And whatever that is for you, it is what it is for you. So that's what I need. I need someone to just kind of drive the ship for a little while till I find my level, get to know a few people. And then when I build up that base, then it started saying, right, who here can I challenge? Who will I see in 4 weeks? Who will I see in 8 weeks? Who do I just aspire to sit on their tire for an hour? And if I can sit in their back wheel for an hour, I've overachieved. So, and that's what I've done with the likes of Larkin and stuff. And I've just been holding on to people's coattails to get me through previous events. So it is something for everyone to think about, and it is the hardest step. So people who want to be fit before they can get involved, just park it. The best way you can do it is just go and let someone else drive, and you will feel so good. Well, maybe not so good after the first, the second, the third, but by the time you walk down and you're walking in saying, hiya John, hiya Mary, how's things, how's the kids, how's the dog, whatever it is, now you're part of it, and now they'll miss you when you're not there, and you'll miss them, and that's how it all starts. And that's when motivation leaves, the habit is there, the accountability is there. So it is something for people to think about. And I'm not going to preach to the choir. I'm going to do what I'm preaching, and I'm going next week. I'm going to show up to a random event and go, hello, I have a bike.
And if you look at the opposite way, if you were to turn around and go, oh, when I'm fit enough, because you're really just putting on the back burner. It's an excuse without thinking in the front of your head. It's an excuse. It's like, but when is that measure of you're fit enough? Like, is it because you've never seen this other club, so you don't know, you've no idea what this club is at. Like, let's say if you're thinking that way, like, oh, maybe if it's a sub, 25K or a marathon at this time, then I am fit enough to join that club. But then you get that stage like, oh, maybe it's actually a sub 19 5K. You keep putting it off, where if you try yourself in the deep end, not only are you going to get fitter, you're probably going to get fitter faster because you're around smarter people than you are. And I say that as if I went to a club as well, smarter people than me. And they're like, well, what if you did this with your training? Or even you talking about there, like you use as a phrase, hanging off the back of the wheel of someone when you're cycling. Like when I started cycling with you, I'm like, this is what the drafting is. This is how it's fast. So like we're down in Ring of Kerry, it's like, this is why you're saying, hanging this way or this sign for this and whatever it was you're doing on the bike. It's like, this makes more sense, or hit this gear at the right time. Now all of a sudden you're on a fast track to getting fitter. Same in the gym. It's like, well, do this exercise, pair it with this, and maybe you can go a little bit lower here in this squat, or if you pair this with this, you're going to get this benefit, whatever it is like that. And you're like, just keep asking questions when you're down there, and all of a sudden you can tailor it more to specifically what you want to do. But going back to goals and stuff, I think one of the mistakes I made last year with my goals was I wanted to do everything. Like I was like doing this gym event at the same time as doing this, and X amount of pull-ups at the same time as running 100 miles, and it all just like some things I got achieved. But my way of looking at it, unlike you, was you had the Ironman. Like that, you talk to you what your goal was, the Ironman, and everything built towards the Ironman. You could say, okay, I started too hot by doing a marathon in Cork in more ways than one, but that was all in mind the marathon. Whereas I was like, well, if I could deadlift X amount by 3 and squat X amount by 3, surely that means I can last 100 miles while building towards a Dublin marathon at the same time trying to do 2,000 pull-ups in a year. Something's got to give, and something most definitely did give. Whereas I've split the year in half this year. The first half of the year, two goals. One is what you said earlier, meet other people, enjoy my runs, enjoy different events. This is why I'm doing some stuff again, like Quest, Glendalough, more so to do that with people. But they all lead towards the Backyard Ultra in May. So I'm doing the Dunedin half marathon Sunday week. I was surprised tickets were, because when I first went online, it was like, there was no tickets left for that. And all of a sudden, I was looking at different events for people there last week. I was like, oh, there's actually tickets for that. Bang, signed up. So that's more of a recce towards the 50K in February, which is putting miles in the leg towards May. Then I'm doing the Nace 10 mile, more so because it's a local kind of race around here. But same time, I want to see what my speed is like around there. It is what it is, that stage. It's not a major concern, but I just want to do a race in March to keep myself on track. April, we'll get the cycling up and going, which is important for June. But as well as that, it's dealing with the hills, the hiking, and see if I can do that at a faster pace. See what how fast I am compared to previous years doing that. But more the trails, which lead towards May. May's the big one, the Backyard Ultra. I would love to get closer to the 100 miles, 24 hours. That's my main goal for the first half of the year. And then June, I don't think I've said it on the podcast yet, but I am waiting for the link to open for the Modelo 24. So a few friends I want to do it with. And that just seems like a mad event that I want to do with people that I know that I'm close to, and just experience that with other people. So that's the first half of the year. The second half will be all about the sub 25K, building up towards the marathon in Dublin. And when I get close to the marathon in Dublin, seeing where I'm at, that's when I set my goal. But off top of my head right now, everything going well. Definitely a sub 330 because I've done just about that before. Thinking 320 depends on how the year shapes up from there. And obviously, the whole lot is stay as injury free as I can and not be an idiot with my training, which sounds a hell of a lot easier than it actually is.
Yeah, but having said that though, and it is one thing about a new year. It's never a new you, it's just a more refined. And I think last year you went out to achieve it all, but like the pull-ups was amazing. Even the Advent challenge was amazing. It was the backyard ultra was amazing, but you broke yourself. Whereas next year, I think a more defined you is going to just go above and beyond even that. And I think that is a problem a lot of people have. And I don't know, is it an Irish thing? I don't know, but we try to be the best at fucking everything.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like I can't, and even I have that little bit in me, and I know I never will, but I just find it so dissatisfying being average. I'm only really starting to come to terms with it, but it is about picking your moments and what key moments are important for you. And to be honest, like you said last year, I had one key moment was just finish one. And that feeling of finishing one meant so much more then, because there was no other excuses. I didn't let myself down. It all kind of just worked out in the end, you know? And I think that's what happens when not all your eggs in one basket, when all your energy is focused on one goal. It's always ticking away at it. Whereas when you're so stretched, that's when injuries happen. That's when distraction happens. That's when you become stressed, overtired. You know, everything kind of, it takes away from the ultimate kind of goal. So, I think being realistic for people, there's a lot of people that come off a marathon last year. Like, what can I do now? Go for 2 marathons this year. Pick an early summer one and a late summer one and try and knock some time off. But be realistic on it, you know, and don't be too hard on yourself. The hardest bit people are going to find in the January run is running at a 6 minute going, how did I run 42 kilometers at a minute 30 quicker than this shit? And that's like, I'm not looking forward to getting back into the swimming and running and cycling, knowing I went 13 hours a lot quicker. I'm going to go for 10 minutes now. So it is, but it's great. And it's part of the new year. It's part of, for us, the average athlete, you know, getting into it again and enjoying life and enjoying the lifestyle that it comes with it.
Yeah, 100%. I think with the marathon as well, like, don't be afraid to set, and this is something I don't do. I just push it off as, it's only a 5K or it's only a 10K. But having those set goals and racing them races as well, because we talked before how much we hate racing 5Ks, but they will stand to you with a good 5K to build on towards a marathon. And I suppose the race series, even signing up for the race series and setting your times from that, will set you on the right track. Whereas previous years, I've just been like from 0 to I am racing the marathon, and like I haven't done a race leading towards marathon training for a half marathon. I don't know how long. I haven't done a 10K or even a 10 mile as a race in that 16-week period towards a marathon. It's just been like, I don't really care about that build towards a marathon. Whereas if you don't have to sign up for the races, but even like have it set where you have like a race, it'd actually be much better to sign up for races because you're in that mindset for it and you push yourself that little bit harder. But even building towards set times and set goals for that instead of just thinking marathon and marathon only, I find I hope, because from my mistakes, it might lead to a better time overall when I get to that stage.
100%. And when you work in your speed and this time, like when you're aiming towards a long distance focus at the end of the year, working on short, sharp stuff, it's just exciting again. It's exciting to, you know, let the leash off and run fast. You know, like I seen something the other day. It was like, most adults over 30 will never sprint again in their lives. Yeah. And I was just like, whoa. And when I think back on my life, I don't think I've sprinted for anything.
I was going to ask that question.
6 months.
I would be afraid of pulling a hamstring sprinting. I don't think, and it's great for you. It's phenomenal leg strength and everything else that comes with it from sprinting. But like, Maybe the
Unless it was
last
an
time.
ice cream van, that would be about it.
I was going to say five-a-side football was probably the last time I sprinted towards something. But yeah, you and ice cream man, fair enough.
Like I was asked to play 7-a-side football over here, and I have never been more afraid to get back into a sport because twisting, turning, sprinting, accelerating, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get sick over the barrier.
And it's one of those where you can't, like, if that's 7-a-side or that 5 is, I know we're not old. I know we're not old. Probably it's like people live here is like, oh, come on, lads, what are you on about? But having said that, you can't just rock onto a pitch. If it starts at 9 o'clock in the evening, you can't just rock on in a minute to 9, like straight out of the car and start sprinting and playing football.
No.
You will do something. You have to get there a quarter and get your warm ups and your few passes in and like maybe build towards sprinting, and then the legs feel good to go for that 9 o'clock kickoff start. Even if it's just a kick around. Like I know if I just hopped out of this chair and started sprinting, like I'm gonna do something silly. Just get a good warm up beforehand if that's your goal. Like that's just me. That meant because we haven't done it in so long. How can we expect to go sprint, bang, away you go?
No, it's something I'm very conscious of. I don't know what happened. I woke up in 2024 and went, ooh,
because intervals aren't sprinting. Intervals are not like if you're doing 400 meter intervals. I know for me that's somewhere between 120 and 130 time if I'm training for 7-8 intervals. That's not a sprint.
No,
like if you're able to do something for over a minute, that's not like a proper sprint. Like if you watch the let's say the elite, the Olympians, they sprint for 10 seconds or less and they're goosed at the end of it. So if you're not goosed after 10, 15 seconds of running, you are sprinting. You are not, you're going for a fast run, but you are not sprinting, pal.
So that's one of my goals is to sprint in 2024. So I'm gonna tick that out just so I don't become one of those memes that never sprints in their 30s. But that's what we're looking at here, and it's very exciting. I'm very glad that the podcast is going to have so many new guests coming up in the year. I suppose it's a nice way for me and you to start because we are the average Joes who talk to very talented people.
Yes, sir.
And just to remind people that it's for everyone. You know, it is a lifestyle. Some people operate on serious level. There are serious operators and athletes out there. But there's also people who will take on their first marathon, their first 10K this year, and they are more impressive to us than anyone. And it's reminding ourselves of that as you take on any challenges this year. The first one, that first roll of that dice with any kind of achievement or any kind of goal, that is the most daunting and the hardest task anyone could do. And we'd always encourage anyone. That's why this podcast is here. It's for all levels. And we just share our honest story about beers, Chinese, fried rice for breakfast and signing up to races. But at least this year, Seán, I'm signing up to a 10K to kick myself into gear, not a marathon, not an Ironman. So in 6 days' time, I'll see how a 10K goes.
It's probably one of the most sensible things we've ever done in the podcast as we hit just pretty much 4 years since the first time we've released an episode. The first episode was released. That is right. It is 4 years. My God. And on that note, we hope that we will have great guests lined up for the rest of this year. That is one of my personal goals, is keep building up this podcast. And Eric, best of luck with the 10K in Dubai. This come up Sunday. We'll have a talk on that for next week's podcast, and hope you have guests for it. That is it for myself and Eric. Take care.
Bye.